Welcome to Burned and Better. I'm your host, Dr. Denisa Weber, a seven-figure CEO, speaker, mother, entrepreneur, and chiropractor. Over the last 15 years, I've faced the highest highs and the lowest lows of entrepreneurship, motherhood, and leadership. I've burned more times than I can count, but every time I've found a way through and come out better. This isn't about polished highlight reels. It's about the real, unfiltered side of leading, the kind of conversations usually kept behind closed doors. Here, I share my own stories and sit down with leaders who've stumbled, recalibrated, and built something worth leading. So if you've ever felt the weight of success or wonder what it looks like to fall hard but rise stronger, you're in the right place. Let's normalize the messy middle of leadership and step into the episode. Welcome back, y'all. Okay, so last week I shared part one of my conversation with Dr. Elise Rigney, and if you have not listened to that episode yet, I highly encourage you to go back and catch it first, because in that episode, we unpacked my own ego crash, how female competitiveness kept me from reaching out for help, and the story of what it looked like to finally push past that and ask Elise for support. We talked about the power of women cheering on women and how grateful we are to be in circles where women truly want to see each other step into their giftings. And then we dug into the messy realities of balancing motherhood and business. So that brings us to where we pick up today. In part two, Elise opens up about her own leadership burns, like the damage of people-pleasing and the weight she carried both physically and professionally. And we will also get into some of the practical business talk around recession-proofing your business, hiring VAs, and how she's leveraging AI. So let's jump back into the conversation. There's a couple of places I want to go because you said that when you came back from maternity leave and whoever was running the show at the time was just negative and a cancer inside of the culture of your practice.
Yeah.
How did that tide change? Like, what did you do? Like, what happened? Like, how did that?
I mean, Denise, it honestly took me like 2 more years. Like, that's how slow, when you have coaches who are like, hire slow, fire fast. I'm like, so not like that. I think I've fired 3 people in 12 years. I've definitely saw people out and done performance plans and they've had to exit and that sort of stuff. But like, I am someone who takes relationships so seriously. And I don't want to change that about myself too, because I do think that's why I've had Dr. Laura there for 10 years, Dr. Heather there for 6, 7 years. It's like, it's because we all just, appreciate and are doing this together, are serving together. And so it's like, it does you well. It does me well in a lot of ways, but then it also has put me in this place where I'm like, shoot, I should have pulled the Band-Aid off way earlier. And sometimes it's taken me losing other team members and at their exit interview, like, oh, wow, everyone keeps exiting because of the same person. And it's like, but then I see the positives. I see the zone of genius in that. We'll just say type A person or whatever, like the control freak. I'm like, but look at how great they are in these operation parts and things that I'm not good at.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm a visionary. And so when I find people who are so great in this area that I'm so low detailed, I make excuses for them being an asshole, quite frankly, for them being super rude to our team members or maybe even to patients sometimes and I've had people running the show who are like so tight into like, this is our policy, to the point of it, like just destroying relationships with patients we've had for 10 years. And I'm like, oh gosh, that's not us. That's not the brand. That's just not the brand. Yeah. And so going back to core values has always helped me. But man, I do, like, now my work has been over the last year, the people pleasing, even with friendships too, like outside of the office. It's like you start to see where you're taken advantage of in different areas. And it doesn't mean we're perfect by any means, right?
Yeah.
But it is like, and in our industry, like I said in the beginning, I've had coaches who just take all this credit for my work. And I think that's why with you, yes, you did chiro intensive, but you still have hundreds of other doctors and they didn't all have the results you had. They didn't all have the transformation you had because you did it. You did it. It was all on you. You had tools that maybe you hadn't had before and you did it all, And so it's interesting, like how we keep opening the next chapter to like, okay, now people pleasing is what I'm working on, which kind of has some boundaries parts to it and all of that. But I've always been one who's like not focused on that person of, oh, they messed up this in my business or whatnot. It's always
Mhm.
been like me taking personal responsibility of like, well, you hired that person.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
passed the torch to them.
Yep.
I think it's where you see the damage that happened with other team members because you let that person be in charge. And then for me, really not being there.
Yeah.
I've had years where I'm really not present.
Mhm.
And that's the type of businesses I want to build, is the ones not dependent on me, like
Yeah.
ones that people are coming for chiropractic. They're
Mhm.
coming for the impact, their lives transformed, their kids being taken care of, this being part of their like vitalistic health choices,
Mhm.
not because of any one doctor, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
And so it's like, this is what I wanted, but I always know if I was tapped in and really setting the tone even more, there'd be more of a shift. But it gives other doctors a responsibility to set that
Like
tone,
step up. Yeah.
to pour in to team and to patients and all of that too. So yeah, yeah,
There's so much in that. And that's what I loved in what you did was not only help, like I got all kinds of tax strategy from you, by the way, too.
yeah,
So like that, and I love that you've embarked on this side of things too, as far as because that's, I mean, you're always full of tips and tricks. I'm like, can you talk more about that? Like I was like, I remember you doing that. And at the same time, what I really loved about, like, where I really delved into was your infrastructure for your team. And so
yeah,
your like things that I didn't really think of. It's like, I mean, you're good at something, like as a chiropractor. So for us in our
mhm,
profession, it's like you become a good adjuster. You are good in relationships. You love on people. And then
mhm,
you're like, crap, in order for us to grow, I have to have people. Like people have to build this with me, and or I have
yeah,
to like have people work for me. And it's the shift of like, well, just do your job to, oh, I am responsible for like curating this whole thing, and instead of going,
yeah,
just waiting for good people to step in and know what to do, it was like clear expectations. It sounds so elementary, and yet if I look at our profession as a whole, and I know you can speak to that because there's so many people sign up, and you've had to
yeah,
look at the infrastructure of a lot of people's different practices. But how many do you think have actual employee handbooks, benefits packages?
great.
How many are having clear roles and responsibilities, and like maybe even ascension planning? How many?
Well, and they might have them, but they don't open them up. And
Yeah.
what I find, like right now, I'm hiring for doctors in two of the offices, and it's like every 2 years, I feel like I do interviews for doctors, maybe every 3 years, and I'm always reminded, like they're like, you guys actually train? Like the practice I'm at says we're going to train, but then it just ends up being people talking, and then eventually we
Yeah.
don't train, and it's kind of just the high level of accountability to the systems that I
Mhm.
think has been the game changer in our practices of like, yes, our CAs train every week for CA training. Yes, our docs train every week for our docs training. Yes, our docs do case studies every single week together. It's like, but that can be really exhausting too to
Mhm.
keep up with if you don't have people in your business that you can start to have lead some of that. Because I don't lead any of the
No.
CA trainings.
No.
I would not be the best to do that either.
Yeah.
And so it's like once you start to grow, you get to have those people in place. But I think it's that middle, the messy middle for a lot of, we'll say, chiropractic offices, but this could be relatable to a lot of small businesses,
Mhm.
of that messy middle of when you're a team of like 2 to 6 and you're just like, it's still all on me to make it happen. And then I have to show up. But it always reminds me of like us as doctors, if we're there speaking to our patients about something that's like in alignment with their health and like, oh, have you considered this type of a workout or this,
Mhm.
green drink or collagen or whatever it would be? It's like, are we within integrity of doing that ourselves? And you can tell when someone's not, which is kind of funny because when I look back at how like how I'm just going to say how bad my body looked, and I don't have body dysmorphia, so maybe that's a trigger warning to some people. So I want to be cautious with that. But for me, when I look back at like what my body looked like, if she was my patient, me in 2018, we'll say, I would be like, this girl is eating fast food, and like I would make judgments. I wasn't.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
wasn't. I was freaking
Mm.
stressed to the max and
Yeah.
like burning the not sleeping, working, 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 taking care of everyone in all different ways.
Yeah.
And so it's like that showed up on my body. So even if I was telling someone to eat well, there were other elements of my health that were completely out of whack, like completely burnt,
Yeah.
burnt down.
What stress for you? Was it running multiple
Yeah.
clinics? Was it,
Well, I didn't
what
have
was it?
multiple back then. I didn't have multiple back then. I had multiple docs. You know, I grew the first OG practice to 6 docs. And so I guess, but really great doctors. And like I said, I had Dr. Laura from right when I had Sloan in
Mhm.
2014, 2015. And so, so I think it was my situation with like my supporting my family. My husband is amazing. He's a chef and he is
I
like super,
remember.
super dad.
Yeah.
So when he was my CA at first. And then once we started having kids, he's full-time dad. Amazing. Like that
Mhm.
is, I could not be more happy to have that type of support that like was a different reality for you, who you had a husband passionate in his career. And so you had to hire that type of support too, or it was on you guys, you know, at
Yeah.
whatever hour of night to do.
Yeah.
So our household and our kids were like so loved on and taken care of. Like our kids haven't had nannies and that sort of stuff. So blessing and all that. So I'm not here to complain, but also like the finances have always been 100% on me. And I grew up poor. So
Mhm.
like even when I've been doing well, I still feel like I could be broke tomorrow. Ed Milet talks about that.
Yes,
It's
I was
like,
just about to say his
yes,
name because I was like, that's what I keep hearing is that Ed Milet
I
saying that.
relate
Yeah.
to Ed Milet
Yeah.
so often in his stories and even with like his dad's death and that sort of stuff. And,
Mm.
you know, so it's like you never feel comfortable. And so like, that's this chapter for me right now. I'm not doing chiro intensive and I've done it for 5 years straight. Like this, well, this would have been the 5th year. And I'm like, oh, did I make a mistake? You know, I
Mm.
love chiropractors. I love doing this work, but it's also this like, can you ever just be happy? Like, are multiple 7 figures in your business each year? Are you not content? Like, do you have to hit 8 figures? And I'm like, yeah, yes, I do. I will, but it's not going to be right now. And it's not
Yeah.
going to be through the model that I've done before.
Mhm.
So it's like, oh, that discomfort. But I would say that was my stress forever has been like, what if I lose it all? You know?
Mm.
And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that it kept me always staying on top of my game in literally everything. And I mean, you know, like you said, I was looking up AI, asking AI questions, you know, before we got
Yep.
on here too. And you're like, of course you would be. And it's like, I'm always like, okay, let's run Spotify ads for my business because no one else is doing that. You know, it's like I've got this like eagerness to always be maybe the first to something in a way, or not necessarily the first, but like, you know, be successful with the next thing, just like you. The next thing I'm committing to, it's going to be, you know, at the level of
Mhm.
excellence that I hold my standard to.
Right.
And so I'm not going to say yes to something unless I'm willing to hold my standard to that. But yeah, there's definitely been like discomfort in when is enough and
Mhm.
all of that as
Mhm.
well. And you can't get back this time with our kids. You can't get back
No.
these years of our kids being these ages.
No.
You guys just had hardship in Texas and
Mhm.
even in your son's school of seeing the reality of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. That could be a different episode too.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Yeah.
sure you have local people you could bring on to talk about that because
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't even imagine being in like really the heart of that. But I
Mhm.
think sometimes like the heartbreak, hard times, the burns that
Mhm.
you see others going through, it's not even your own,
Mhm.
is the reality check that pulls us back to like, oh wow, does it really matter that, you know, that my revenue, we didn't hit the marks this month, that we didn't hit those projections? Like, does it
Mhm.
really matter at the end of the day? You know, if I die tomorrow, is anyone going to care that we saw this many new patients versus this many? Like, come on,
No,
you know?
I know, and I for you, Elise, I feel like you're always going to be spearheading something. Like that's something that you guys don't know about Elise is that she's a pioneer. She sees something just as she said, but she goes for like she brings that level that standard that she talks about to what she does, and then I always am like, I'm inspired because I'm like, oh, what is that? That's great. I want to, I'm like, I usually people do that with me, and like I love doing that with you because I'm like, somebody else is ahead, like with like,
In different ways, in
I
different
love
ways.
it.
Don't look
No,
at my branding compared to Denise.
stop.
Don't look at my like
That's not true.
communication.
That is
Yes, you
not
are
true.
so. but you're the spearheader there. Like my stuff changed after I watched you. Like you've always been like from day one ahead in all of that. Like I just remember, you'd put up like your I don't know what it's called, but like the wellness board or whatever. And then everyone's like, what color marker did you buy to write on that board, Denisa? Like it was literally like,
because it's all
can
about
you
that for
send me
me.
can
Yeah.
you send me a link for that font you bought on Etsy? Like it was just
I love that.
everyone. You're definitely the spearheader in so many ways.
Oh,
But I
that's
do have to
sweet.
tell you about something I'm taking a meeting for in New York when we get off of recording, because I'm
Okay.
like it's in alignment with your brand, not with many Kairos brands, but yeah,
I
it's
definitely want
it
to know.
is fun, like trying to, and we're doing it, I think, for the purpose of like providing more for our people, whether that's our team, whether that's our family, whether that's our patients. That's what drives. It's like the value of what you can provide for others,
Yeah.
but not losing sight of taking care of yourself too.
Yeah.
Because when those burns come, I feel like that's when, I mean, that's like, yeah, for me,
And
it just shows in my weight. Like all you got to do is, yeah, could have hit a great number, but look at a picture of me and do I look inflamed? Do I look,
yeah, I
chunkier?
mean, you changed so much. Like there was
Yeah,
I mean, the thing is, you went from that, you went to a beauty pageant. Like,
dude,
you
that's
did a
insane.
beauty pageant.
That is
I saw
weird.
it and I was like, what are you doing at a beauty
Would
pageant?
not recommend. I'm just going to say that would not recommend. Glad I did
And I was
it.
like, that is next level. Yes, yes. But I mean, like, you could say you did it. You did quite the transformation. And
Yeah.
so, even from there, like, you look lighter, you look like, obviously, you look healthier. You look like, I
Thank
mean,
you.
you feel like you feel more on mission, like, and more in alignment without all of that weight.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you have more energy and more ability to tackle, like, do you feel clearer in your head, even that you're getting more drop-ins than you were when you were in that season of just push and go and
Yeah.
all that?
Yeah, definitely. I would say that. I would also say, like, you write your goals in whatever season you're writing your goals. And for so many years, like, the one area I felt like I was falling short always was I'd say health, but I mean, honestly, I was a CrossFitter. I was like, I did what, let's just say, men
And
told
then
me to
do.
do,
Yep.
right? I was
Yep.
following the fasting and the,
Yep.
keto paleo. I did all the things because that's what I was raised in. Like my mentors were all men, and those are great for male hormones, not
Yeah.
for female hormones.
No.
And so it's like I pretty much had to like get out of the hustle mode in how I handled my health because I was so biohack. I mean, I still love a good biohack, but I was so like cold plunge, biohack, don't eat any carbs, like all of the like the power hour in the morning. And that was not good for my body to be waking up that early. And I felt miserable the rest of the day. And so it's like the things I thought I had to do were
Mhm.
not what I needed to do. I did have to soften. I did have to get my heart rate lower and do more like the Pilates and just weightlifting and like things where I'm like, going for a walk is not exercise. Now I'm like, that's how I've taken the weight off. So it's just like
Yep.
really non hustle mode stuff
Mhm.
because I was so like, do everything hard. It was like everything I did was so like all or nothing and masculine. It was
Yep.
like,
I feel
I
that.
felt, yeah, yeah. And it
Me.
was like, man. But I would say right now, what's lovely over the last couple of years is not that it's not a goal to like continue to work on my health because I will always, we're doctors, we're always going to be like that.
Yep.
But now it's kind of like that noise in my head is gone. Where I used to always be like, okay, what do I need to eat next? I need to meal prep this. I need to like make sure I, hit my macros here. And I'm still mindful of all of it, but not do or die like I used to be.
Yeah.
And there is a very different level of respect I get being this size, which I'm not saying I agree with, but it has been very much a reality. There were chiropractors, people I met back in 2018 who I'd been around all the time, a lot. And then all of a sudden, like, they, not to say they could care less, but it was like, who
Yep.
are you again? I don't think we've met. What's your name? And you're like, yeah, we met like 5 times. But like, I'm always going to be respectful. I don't remember everyone either.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have made those mistakes multiple times. But then all of a sudden you lose weight and we're back on stages. Our names are out there. And all of a sudden it's like, you want to collab? And like, it's just interesting. I think having your people who are around at your hardest times, who are still around, are like
Yeah.
your
That's your
people.
people. Yeah.
Your people, the people like I just went back for my 20th class reunion, and like those friends who knew me as like I had no money growing up, like
Hmm.
I there was just so much going on behind the walls. I mean, I just escaped my house mostly, but it's like now we are having these conversations and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just thought you liked to work a lot. I didn't realize you weren't going home. Like those friends who have been around but didn't know all the stories back then
Yeah.
and are still here, and they could care less about how many millions of dollars my businesses do a year. Like that
Totally.
is not what they care about at all. And nor would I want my friendships to be based on that. Like, yes, we want our like expanders in our circle of those of us who want to do big things and strategize and brainstorm together and all of that. But it's like we value the underlying of our relationships are not that. And we also realize we're going to get burnt. We're going to be
Yep.
at our lowest. And like, who do you have at your lowest that I think says a lot for those relationships too?
No, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, I saw pictures of your 20-year anniversary. It looked like it was a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
fun.
Oh yeah, that
You
was
guys.
fun. Yeah. Mm.
Here's the other thing. I got to hear the words angel investing from you. I got to hear more about real estate portfolios from you. It was nice to hear some of the stuff that, again, like you had been outside the profession. Like I went to like Christian business women's conferences,
Yeah.
like
Yep.
we were trying to get and glean from other places because it's like we're only going to get so much from inside of our profession unless you go out
Yeah.
and you bring it in, which I feel like you did a really good job of bringing in the things that you had learned. And I know you're part of UAC and all that kind of stuff too.
Yep.
But as far as that's a whole element too of your, I mean, like of your life. And so tell me about like, again, how did I kind of feel like I know, but how did Rewire,
Yeah.
like tell me a little bit more about that because I know it's like your passions, I mean, passions kind of change. And I mean,
Mm.
you've been very transformative for people and eye-opening. I feel like in Chiro Intensive in that like segment. Did you
Yeah.
just notice that people were just like loving that and then they wanted to know more and then you were like, you know what, let's just make this new thing and I'm going to dive
Yeah.
into it. What was that?
Yeah. So I think when I first started Chiro Intensive, it was 2020. And what people were coming for is like, I'd say the majority were like, how do you have associate doctors and how do you keep them? And
Mm,
they were like, I don't know how to set up a training schedule. I don't know how to find one or what to look for when I'm hiring and how to take care of them so they stay. And,
mm.
but also, like all of that, plus the systems, the like
Yep.
a lot of the systems behind all of that. And now I think what really struck me with AI coming around. I'm like, it's almost like people were buying the features, but then they get in and they transform in other ways in their leadership and like wealth building and all of that. But they were coming in for the features of
Yep.
thinking, if I have these tools, then I will run a successful business. And like, honestly, it worked for almost everyone. Like everyone, the
Yep.
amount of people who went, the amount of solo docs who hit seven figures too, which I'm like, I couldn't, I shouldn't say I couldn't. I never hit seven figures alone. I
No.
had another doctor there. It's like,
Yeah. Yep.
Lord have mercy. Some of you guys are crazy. But like, but
Yeah.
one of them was pregnant while she did that too. And I was like, girl,
Wild.
but like those tools, having that in place just makes everything easier, I think, because you can go back to that. It's not
Hmm.
like you have to like have decision fatigue again. It's like, oh, all of this is in place. We've gone through our systems. It's just like, I go back to like the fundamentals with coaching too. It's like, I'm going to say Caitlin Clark is still running layups. She's still hitting
Yep.
point drills. Like all of that. It's like
Yep.
you always go back to the fundamentals. And I think we just needed all those systems because most of us got into business as like give, love, serve and a good heart
Yep.
and it worked. You're all of
Yep.
a sudden like, oh, it's working, but I don't really know the business side of things.
Right.
So then with AI coming out, I'm like, dude, you guys, so much of this you can utilize AI for, like these
Yeah.
actual features, like just talk to chat, talk to Claude, and tell it like, here's this handbook. Now let me tell you all about my actual business. I need like I just voice message and do it all the time, but like I need my employees to park here behind this sign and this line and da, 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 and it just boom, done. Right. So like a lot of that, I'm like, you guys have access, and there's so many other coaching groups now that have
Yeah.
great EOS systems and all that. So it was kind of like, I feel like that need is not there anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
not to say there wouldn't be people still coming. I think the beauty was we had a lot of our docs were finally in groups. Like this is the biggest feedback I feel like I get of not doing it this year is they're like, I was finally in a group where I didn't have to help everyone. Like because it's a lot
Yep.
of it's
Yep.
all high level docs
Yep.
who pay for these other groups and are still in a lot of these other groups where they have to teach, they have to get on calls. They end up in these masterminds where it's like they love everyone in there, but then everyone's like, oh, how do you do XYZ? Denise, so what color pen do you use for this? And it's like, I paid to be a part of this. Can I just learn? Can I just be the
Like, who am I
student?
learning
Because
from? Yeah.
I
Who am
need
I
to be
learning
the
from?
student for 1 second, or I need to be around others who lift me up where we're all giving and pouring into each other. But I know if I share this thing that works really well in our business, that I have this other person who has gotten on a phone call with me and helped me a ton with this other thing. And so
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we curated really freaking amazing doctors together. So that is a part of what I'm missing. And I don't know if there's a future within that or not. I'm kind of just letting God take the wheel in a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But what happened is the amount of people who aren't chiropractors who came to me who are like, I know you coach chiropractors, but my whatever practice, my salon, my med spa, my
Yep.
speech therapy practice, my acupuncture clinic, like they're like, I would love some of the stuff you talk about, or the tech strategy even too. And so that's what I was like, I want to still have like kind of what I've been doing, honestly. It's not Rewire Method and even the tax strategy program are not in chiro intensive at all.
Yeah.
These are business principles,
Yeah.
but I think what I'm sharing in there, it comes back to me. I don't know what it is. It's got to be my childhood of like always looking out for like the underdog or the small business owner, the mom and pop who it's like they don't
Yeah.
get access. There a lot of times they can't get access to the things that I've paid way too much to get access for. Like I've made some
No.
really big, I think I told you about like the Grant Cardone. I paid like 40 grand or maybe 60 grand after it was all said and done. And I was like, I am a sucker and I don't want anyone else to go and do that. But I will teach things that, how I
Mm-hmm.
incorporated them into my life, not that I wouldn't say there was much from that. Honestly, a lot of what they taught, I was like, we already do this to the next level. I can't believe I spent this money. But
Oh, man.
we've all paid those taxes in different ways. So
Yep.
I think with tax strategy and then Rewire is really reworking. It's really about recession proofing your business right now, because that's truthfully, I'm more worried for business owners in this economy. And it's really easy to get into like, we're both abundance mindset, write your goals, manifest, like it can all happen. It can all work out. We just might not know the how. Yes. I mean, I've gone to a week-long Dispenza retreat. Like I am bought in on all the belief system stuff, but I'm also such a realist and very logical where I'm like, cool, you also need to know the numbers and you have to like go through and look at your expenses and make smart decisions and that's part of leadership is that you are really watching your business to make sure your margins are in the right area. And if they're not, how do we shift that? And there's so much. So within Rewire, it's like we first dig in and like it's almost like decluttering your closet, decluttering your business, taking all the crap out. I feel like you use this as the nervous system analogy, don't you? But you're like pulling everything out and then you're like, what are the needle movers that need to go back in? And then you just have such a cleaner business overall and better margins and all that. So it's like the Rewire part, that's the first part of like the reframing. But then I go into like, okay, well, we need more support. We need more help. Like you and I were talking about right before this podcast. I was like, do you have a VA to help you with this? Because now I'm like, you're
so good at that. You're so good at that. Like you're like, I got a guy, I got a this.
I know.
Like, you are that person.
It's funny because I didn't even know you were using my HR people. When you posted, I was like, yes. Like, but you see, again, you do shit. Like you do it, it's like, I probably put their resource on something for everyone, but I don't know who's using them and who's not, so I don't have an affiliate with them or anything like that. Like I genuinely, not that there's anything wrong with affiliates. Yeah. I feel like they'd be like, what are you talking about? That type of business. They'd be like, no, we don't do any affiliate commission, whatever. But it's kind of just getting, so with Rewire, I guess I teach people how to hire VAs. And so I just feel like my business has been able to save.
I'm learning from you on that one.
Well, I mean, you look at the marketing agencies we've hired over these years to run meta ads.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I'm literally hiring the people they hired. So I will go on, and it's very easy to see like who's worked for some of the companies we know, like it's in their resume. So you're like, oh,
Mm,
cool. I'm already getting someone who worked for this Cairo agency and has already done a lot of this stuff, but I'm getting them for $4 to $10 an hour. So it's just been a place to be able to hire people. And it's not to not have jobs in America.
yeah.
It's to take a lot off of the plates of those who are in-house right now,
Mm,
create more margins so that they can increase their salaries and their hourlies, because we're able to outsource a lot of basic, data entry, funnel creation, cap cut editing to our reels, like all of the stuff that's pushing buttons that keeps us away from being in front of people, being in front of the people we serve. So I think that's a big part of it, is training in that, training in, like, we've trained a ChatGPT Impact HQ, we call it. So we've trained it for everything in our business, even down to like everyone's personality types and culture index and all
wow.
of that. And so if a CA hits a spot where they're like, oh, I got this text message from a patient, I don't know how to respond to it, they can go straight back into there and like ask that first. So it's a great resource to empower team to like use their resources right now.
Mm,
But also like productivity, man, we know like if you write emails utilizing that
oh
stuff,
man.
it's like we can just make everyone in our business more productive, which is then going to create more opportunity for them too. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yep.
behind the scenes, just getting rewiring the way we work our business is what that's all about. And then I did the tax strategy one just because, again, I'm like, there's so many ways other business owners can be like taking home
Yep.
more tax free or paying less in taxes. That's completely ethical,
Yep.
legal. Everyone's doing it
Yep.
except the smaller guys, and the smaller guys are still $1 million businesses too.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I
we don't
learned
have all
about
the trust strategies going on and stuff.
yeah. I mean, I learned about R&D from you. I learned about
Yeah.
uh I
Augusta.
did Augusta, like before our accountant wasn't using it for SCR. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
That
Like,
is crazy.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. So then we
Yep.
switched accountants. Like, I was able to do all kinds of changes just because of some of the
I remember you getting to this point where you're like, Elise, I have to spend money. And so
yes,
your business was just at this place where you're like, I actually have to spend money right now. Can you help me figure this out?
yes,
And I was like, what a great place to be. Like,
yes.
these are the conversations we want to be having.
Yes, that is what I wanted to be at, that I wasn't at before. So I'm super grateful. But anytime that you put out something, I'm like, you just should just have my card on file.
Oh
And
my
I'm
gosh.
like, whatever. I'm like, girl, you got something else, I'm buying, like, but
Uh,
I know the thing is that I know that you're going to do as much needle moving. And so whatever you're doing, I'm wanting to learn anyway. That's just how I can stack all that past experiences with you
yeah.
and all those
Yeah.
wins. I know what I'm going to be investing in is going to kind of produce the same ROI for me. If it's producing ROI for you, because I know you're like, I'm not going to tell you if it's not, if it doesn't work for me, I'm not going to tell you
Right.
about it. Like, you're very much that person. And so that's where I'm
That is,
like, yep.
I feel like integrity is just like the big thing of like, I think I had so many years of the fake numbers being told to me. And then I'd go and shadow their office and I'm like, I think I saw you adjust 20 people. Okay. It must
Mm-mm.
just be the day I came. I don't know. Like there was so much
Mhm.
false,
Yep.
messages where I'm like, just tell me the truth. I don't care if these are the real numbers, but like, I need realistic expectations for myself. And you want to be around those expanders, but
Yep.
you don't want the secrets kept from you. So that
No.
is my thing. I'm like, so much is gate kept unless you like pay to get past it. And yes, these courses are paid courses, but they're literally one time,
Yeah.
very low dollar compared to normally to work with me was like back in the day when I first started at 5,000 for 90 days and then it went to
Wow.
10,000 for 90
Yeah.
days. So I'm like 500. I'm like, yes, it's paid, but it's because that's hundreds of thousands of dollars in
It's
knowledge. And
nothing.
I know you're going to get it back in executing one thing. So, but
Perfect.
so I created those just to still have those resources out there that are newer, helpful for all business owners. So it wasn't just chiropractors. That was really,
Mhm.
really important to me. And it's honestly been so fun to hear these other industries who are like, I don't even know where I would have learned this. Like Carlton Dennis is a name on tax strategy right now out there.
Mhm.
And the fee to get in is somewhere between 31, 32, or $33,000 to work with them. And I'm
Hmm.
like, average small business owner, and honestly, tax strategy, you'll get that. You probably will get that back, but you're going to get that off of mine. That's under $1,000. So it's just making it accessible
Yeah.
to those who, and I had someone respond like, are you a CPA? And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to be a CPA, but like your CPA might not have your back. Just like we're not trying to be medical doctors. Moms oftentimes know more than their own medical doctor about what is going on with their kids. You know, it's like, we don't need that degree behind our name because we're not here to do your taxes for you. We're saying, hey, take this to your accountant and ask them if you qualify for it. Like ask if you can do this stuff. Just like take this to your pediatrician and talk to them about it, or let them know you're doing it with your kid. You know, it's kind of the same, sense of like just looking out for each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to put a link in the show notes for you guys to check out Rewire. And again, it's under $1,000. I think it's like what, like five.
I don't know. I can't remember. I don't remember.
Your prices is going to go up anyway. But if you want to save, this is a good time because you're going into Q4. So
yep.
No better time than to look at all the things. And then if you can save some money this year, then or you can re-strategize going into next year. So
and I'm telling y'all, like getting VAs, it is freaking amazing to have support in all these different areas. Like and hard workers who can just make your life so much easier. Anything you're doing that you're like, why am I doing this right now? I'd rather be spending time with my kids.
Yeah.
VA. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I'm so glad. Maybe we're going to have to do this in 2 parts or something because this has been.
I feel like we need to do like glass of wine, do this because both you and I are like, I feel like we're more logical than emotional. And there's some like heavy stuff underneath that we have had burns, but we both are very respectful to not, to be cautious of former employees and, respecting other people who were a part of that so that they are protected in these conversations. And I think it makes it a little bit more challenging to really talk about the true heartache and burn and like where you feel like you went through it because there were other people involved. So I'm excited to see the vulnerability keep coming out for you too, because I know there's so many deeper layers to all of this, but we're tiptoeing into it. So anyone listening, just know it's getting deeper, but we have to do it in the way that feels comfortable,
Totally.
Too.
Well,
we're dropping Easter eggs. That's what we're doing. We're dropping the Taylor Swift. I don't think you like Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift's marketing. Her marketing, that's all I can say. Yeah. Y'all can't argue. She's brought followers to the NFL, right? So I'm like, her marketing where she drops Easter eggs, I'm like, we're dropping Easter eggs. There's more to come. We're going to keep cracking open Denisa too.
Well, I'm here for it. So I've embarked on it. But I'm so grateful that you were our first guest. And
me too. Thanks for having me.
And again, check it out. Check out Rewire. She'll add value to your life. I just know that. So I'm just so grateful for you. I'm grateful for your heart and your passion to champion for others. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing your heart too.
Oh, thanks. All right. Bye, y'all. We'll see you next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Burn It Better. Follow the show so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, tap 5 stars or write us a quick review. That's how this work is going to grow. I'd love to hear what stood out for you in this conversation. Share this episode, tag me at Southern_Cairo on Instagram, and pass it on to someone who needs it today.